What is the most unhygienic thing you have done? College. I was drunk and high and all those things and decided my hands didn't work. Our dorms had a shared bathroom and I was in the stalls, hoping to puke in the toilet. I thought, man, it would be rude of me to puke all over the seat. I better put it up just in case. Since my hands didn't work, I grabbed the seat with my teeth and put it up. Never puked though. As a kid, don't know why I took a swig from a random soda can left at the sink in a public laundromat. Turns out it had been used as an ashtray and possibly dip spittoon. I jumped into what was essentially sewer runoff, chest high swirling river of to pull out a 4-year-old boy who had fallen in. It was in Mexico and next to the site I was working. Kid just fell in and I jumped in after him since the sewage was over his head. Managed to cut my leg open too, so I had to go to the hospital and get a tetanus shot. Kid was fine. Pulled him out. Mom hosed him off and sent him back to playing. Too much paper? Not sure, but the toilet just clogged. Push my hand down there. Push the entire mass through. Straight in the shower after. I think you should go straight to a graveyard instead and start digging. What the F, dude? 9 years old. Dropped a milk dud in the movie theater, so pushed my hand the seats to find it. Found it, proceeded to eat it, and it was a Refine Junior Mint. Scars me to this day. My friend found a chocolate chip and ate it. Turns out it was a swollen tick. Imagine the surprise. What the F? Not me, but a buddy of mine was in a fight with his GF. She was saying he always undercooks the chicken, and she's going to get salmonella. So he takes a raw drumstick and slurps the meat off the bone out of spite. While doing a rectal exam to make a pregnancy diagnosis in cow, it managed to directly into my open mouth. Just throw the whole cow away at that point. Once I was eating a grilled stuffed burrito at Taco Bell. I bit into what I initially thought was a chewy bit of tortilla or something, but eventually spit out and determined to be actual rubber. Probably a fingertip to rubber glove based on shape. Now I'm still in the Taco Bell, mere feet from the counter where I could have complained, gotten a refund, gotten a new burrito, or whatever. I was 19 and invincible though, so I tossed the rubber bit to the side and ate my effing burrito. The day after was the sickest I've been in my entire life, even to this day. It was probably one of those finger condom things people use to cover up a wound so they can continue working. Gross. Smoked a half-smoked cigarette I found on the floor. I was 12 years old and lit it with my magnifying glass in the sun. That's actually pretty effing impressive. I was in Boy Scouts when I was a teenager. We were on a week-long backpacking trip. As teens do, we started making stupid bets. One was, who can do the grossest thing to an M&M and then eat it? I took off the boots I had been hiking in, took off my funky sock, soaked in swamp water, wrung it out on a few M&Ms in my hand, and ate the handful of M&Ms and whatever puddle of swamp water was in my palm. I won. Thanks. My body wants to vomit. Ate my wife's 2-day unshower day that she pooped out of 3 times. Man, I came here to say I ate a sandwich I dropped on the floor today, but that doesn't even come close to you. F me. One time I was at a rave. I asked some guy chewing gum if I could have a piece. He told me he had none left, but I could have half of the one he was chewing. I accepted and put it into my mouth. Standard rave stuff. My freshman year crush asked me for a piece of gum and I didn't have any except what I was chewing. So I jokingly took it out of my mouth and said, "You can have this if you want." Of course she took it and started chewing. I guess that's how I figured out the feelings were mutual. Went 2 weeks without showering and without getting out of bed. Would have gone longer, too, if my husband hadn't gently led me to the bathroom and lovingly told me I smelled. Depression is a B. When I was a toddler, I crawled into the cat box and started playing in the sand. Mom of course had to get pictures before stopping her kid from playing with kitty glitter. I licked my contact lens and put it back in my eye in 1999. I wiped with a used piece of toilet paper that I fetched from the trash can in a public bathroom. I got hepatitis just from reading this comment. Once ate a raw chicken wing at a pub. It wasn't my plan. It's like someone in the kitchen thought the basket of wings wasn't full enough, so dunked one in the sauce and put it on top. The server had no idea. Everything was covered in sauce, despite being a few pints in. As soon as I bit into it and chewed, I almost puked. The texture of raw chicken in your mouth is effing horrible. Hold up. Do you know the guy who ate raw chicken to spite his GF? I was looking at apartments once and had picked up keys to one and had just finished looking and knew I had to take a shin immediately. The apartment had no TP and I knew it was going to be a mess, so that wasn't an option. I had my baby with me but only one diaper and no wipes, so I squatted in my seat and shin his diaper. It was a matter of life and death. Why in the F did you not shin the toilet and use the diaper to wipe your A? Because he's vile. A really bad stomachache hit me while I was in the shower. Farted. Wasn't just a fart. Said F it and just continue to shin the shower. Begin the waffle stomp. I hate that I know what a waffle stomp is. I had the flu, something terrible, while in college. I was hallucinating from the fever, but still needed to take a midterm. The professor was not sympathetic, so the morning of the midterm, I crawled out of bed, made it to the shower, and the combo of steam and heat made me nauseated. He literally shitting and puking at the same time while hunched over in the shower for 10 solid minutes, which was amazing considering I hadn't eaten more than crackers in over 24 hours. I just detached the shower head. I was in the handicap stall because it had a seat, and hosed the schvomit mixture down the drain. Picked up a piece of candy from the side of the road and ate it. I believe it was a Skittle. He believes. Went to visit my buddy for a few days and we got stoned, to which I ate an entire bag of pistachios. On day 3 I noticed I haven't needed to shit, so I informed my buddy I will be using the washroom. While sitting there waiting for nature to do its thing, I found another joint and lighter and just enjoyed the moment, you know. Eventually 40 minutes go by and I realize nothing is coming out, and I reach for my crowning poop and realize those pistachios made a spikes clump that all sank to the bottom of my turd. I proceed to remain calm as I realized forcing this thing through was incredibly painful. Still another hour goes by, to which I've tried everything to get this thing out. Tips break. Squats and lunges are not working. My buddy asks if everything is alright and I'm just paranoid I need a trip to the emergency room. I get desperate and hop into the shower and lube my butthole with all his shampoo. Another 10 minutes pass as this massive turd just shoots out of me, to which I catch it with 2 arms, and was the length of one arm and looked like a mace with the spikes end and soft remaining. I was so ecstatic that I managed to pull trough. I admired what I had created and chucked it in the toilet bowl and washed myself up. Immediately after I flushed, to which the toilet immediately overflows with the turd still looking out. I cleaned up the remaining water and let it be. We couldn't use the toilet for another 2 days as I had to break down the matter. I informed him I'd tell him what happened after he moved so he'd understand what I went through for 2.5 hours in his washroom. In Iraq I beat off in the showers and let the nut wash down the drain. As soon as I got done showering I'd walk back to my tent and put socks on before I go to bed because I didn't like sand and dirt between my toes when I wake up. Fast forward next day I take my socks off to change socks and notice a funny smell. Think nothing of it and go to work, but when I get back to take my boots off and repeat the cycle of the previous day I still smell something, but now it's a lot more pungent. I take a finger and check to see if I have some lint stuck between my toes and touch something squishy. Upon closer inspection it's 1-day-old semen that has been marinating with sweat between my toes. Literally the most disgusting thing I've ever done. No, please throw the whole foot away, thanks. Drunk bike to Burger King. It was rainy. Bag split open and my fries fell all over the road and my chicken sandwich disassembled itself too. Not wanting to waste the money I spent and too drunk to give a F, I squatted down and ate all of the fries off of the road in the rain. Put the sandwich back together and ate that as well. Worked the same pair of underwear for 2 weeks straight. Once in the army I wore the same set of BDUs for 4 months straight, with no underwear, just to see how long I could go before someone said something. After 4 months nobody said a thing and I was mostly just disappointed in myself. Our military boredom. 11 Wyoming thought it would be cool to try to take a piss in my toilet while doing a neck stand with my feet in the air and my head on the floor. TLDR, pissed all over my face. When I was addicted to Xanax I one time dropped a bar in the urinal while I was peeing, which was full of other people's piss, and then I reached in, grabbed it out, ran it under some water and took the pill. I then went to the campus bar and downed some alcohol to kill any bacteria left over. Smoked a dead fly mistaking it for weed. I have a video where a fly flew into my hide-a-bong and I made a video testing the effects of marijuana smoke on a fly. They get high, fall down, wiggle their arms for a while, and then die. That's more research on the effects of cannabis than the federal government has performed. The other day I took a and had one of those situations where you just keep wiping but keeps appearing on the toilet paper. Well, I just got sick of wiping and so I just decided to stop, figuring I've wiped like 9 times and so my A ought to be clean now. Well, I went on throughout the day and kept smelling shit everywhere I went. Turns out, I still had a lot left in my A that I ignored and now I have a big rash down there. I have no idea why I was so impatient. I just decided to stop wiping without confirming I was clean. Wet wipes. I was in basic training and a week before you graduate they have everyone do a final test of the skills you've learned called Victory Forge. For 3 days and 3 nights you the 5th of March plus miles to a wooded area where you sleep, in shifts, eat, do drills, have CS gas randomly thrown at you, act. So after this is done you the 5th of March plus miles back to the barracks. Then you sit in a large room exhausted where you're told congratulations you are now a soldier. So for 3 days and nights you haven't washed or changed clothes and you've been caking camo face paint daily. You are so damn exhausted that when you see your bed all you want to do is sleep. None of us knew how bad we smelled because all of us smelled the same way. Our drill sergeant made us shower. We gave 0 FS about our hygiene and was pissed that we had to shower. Our shower was set up kind of weird. There was one room for undressing in and another that was the large shower room. So we all shower and I start to hear females gagging in the dressing room. I walk in there and the smell was insane. I have never again smelled anything that bad. We had to triple bag our BDUs just so they wouldn't stink up the barracks. Our rucksacks were left outside to air out. It really hit us how unhygienic it would have been just to jump in our bed and go to sleep. Former hazmat worker. I have swam in a combination of human feces and diesel fuel in an underground tank. I have climbed into a vat of unknown substance on an abandoned military base. I'm either immune to everything now, or I'm going to die by age 50. In high school a buddy of mine chewed up a cracker and then took that and put it in between 2 fresh non-chewed crackers. I then proceeded to eat said pre-chewed cracker sandwich for $5. Easiest $5 I've ever made. I once examined a patient's leg wound without gloves on, looking for fluctuant areas that might indicate an abscess. Bad idea. Next thing my finger pierces the skin, thinned from necrosis and under tension from the pus, and was actually gliding up under the skin. In the split second it took me to realize this, an inordinate amount of pus came streaming out onto my hand and arm. Took several minutes to compose myself afterwards. Very nearly wretched a number of times. I'm also pretty sure I finished an entire bottle of Hibis scrub washing my hands repeatedly. I just cut the arm off. You have another one anyway, that's why you have to. I woke up pissing liquid diarrhea but had to go out for a meeting. This brown piss had been going for 2-3 hours when I got in the shower. A couple of minutes in I felt the need to go again. I figured if I crouched down it would just be smelly water that I could rinse away. It was for a few seconds. Then it became non-liquid that the only way to get rid of was to pick it up, get out the shower and chuck in the toilet. Luckily that was it, and after I finished the beating went off without a hitch. I was on a bus traveling from Haiti to the DR, hungover beyond sense and delirious from the heat, when I moved a few seats ahead because I spotted someone had left behind about half a sip of water in a crinkled old bottle, and I drank the sketchy bus water, and I've never regretted it. It's nothing that I've done, it's what a friend did to me. We were in a study Perius in school. My friend's book bag was open, so my other friend and I took a piece of gum from the pack he had in there. My friend comes back, notices we are both chewing gum like we were not before, and says we stole his gum. He then holds out his hand and says, "Give it here, both of you." So my other friend and I looked at each other, spit tea gum into our hands, and dropped the gum into my other friend's hand. He then tosses the 2 chewed pieces of gum into his mouth and chews them the rest of the day. Could not stop laughing the rest of the day. When Monster Hunter World first came out, I took off work and played for a week straight, plus 2 weekends. I brushed only when I could taste my breath. I didn't shower till the morning I had to go back to work. Boarding school. Teenager. No food allowed in rooms and no access to food other than designated meal times. Starving. Scraped up enough cash to order some General Tso's chicken. Happily eating said chicken when I spotted a full-on sea croach on the dish. The horror was overshadowed by my hunger. I extracted the sea croach and finished. Never, ever ordered from that place again. However, while eating what I thought was veggie barley soup at the same school, I looked closer and realized I was eating veggie weevil soup. No kidding, didn't finish that. Also, when I saw the registered S offender stirring a bucket of orange drink with his hairy arm right in front of the whole dining room, I never drank anything from a communal source there again. I was on a climbing trip with a girl and we had been out climbing all day. Got back, ended up getting drunk, started fooling around. Went down on her in the back of a van for a good bit. Neither of us had bathed in like 4 days and were getting all kinds of hot and sweaty during the day climbing. The smells were pungent. I am visibly gasping after reading all of these.